Hey there, it's Tricia with Easy Emini Trade, and we've been talking a lot about the Three Amigos setup. It's a setup in addition to what we already trade, and it's been working out really well. And I thought I would go over what we took this morning on the NQ so you can compare it with what you've got showing up on your charts. So you might find that helpful if you're trading it. And that's for today, Monday, January 30th. And if you want more information on the setups, you can go to www.easyemintrade.com. Okay, so here's the NQ, and that's what we traded this morning. And the thing about the Three Amigos is that if you're not watching it real time, it's very difficult to go back and see if a setup would have worked or not because of how the indicators color. You get some backfill on color. So like for example here, 938, we have a setup, and that coincides with this black line right here on the lower screen. And what we're looking for is for them to all go red and then go to green. And it looks here like it's set up way back here, but in actuality, right where I've got the line is when it actually set up real time, because again, sometimes you get some backfill on color. So we get this set up right here, and what I look to do is I put a sell stop under this bar as it's forming, and I use a range bar predictor which will give me an estimate of where the estimated high and low are. So I can put a sell stop under there, and you'll see here I have no trigger. It never traded to my entry price, so then I cancel. So no entry there. Next entry that we get for the Amigos is here at 10:05, and that coincides right here with this black line here. They all go from red. Notice red, red, red. They all go to green. This is the bar that's forming. Enter a sell stop under this bar here. And actually on this one here, price had already traded through the entry for where I was going to put my sell stop. Sometimes that happens. It happens pretty quickly. You can still place your order, and instead of a sell stop, it turns into a sell limit. And as long as it fills on the next bar, I'm okay with that. So I was a little slow getting my order in, so it turned into a limit order because of how price plotted, and it filled on the very next bar. So had it not filled on the next bar, I would have canceled my order. I wouldn't leave it sitting there as a limit order waiting to get filled. It either has to happen on the very next bar after the setup bar, or I'm not interested. So that was at 10:05. That worked out just fine. Now, as far as MACD setups, we really didn't have any in the area where we were at here because of how we were just going sideways. And I like to use the moving average from the broader view being on the correct side of it for when we get our kaboom set up. And unfortunately, never was here and never was here. Now you could always do range trades, but this is a little early in the morning to do range trades in my opinion. At 9:38, 9:50, 9:52, too early for me. I usually wait to do range trades till after 10:30. So anyway, Three Amigos here at 10:05. Next one we get is at 10:35. You can see it. This is the entry bar right here, meaning this is the setup bar. And what I look to do is I look to enter in a quarter above that. So whatever direction price is going, I don't care about the trend. I don't care about support and resistance generally for the Three Amigos. And this is when we get our third indicator. So basically it goes from all of them are red, then it goes to green, green, and then green. When the final one turns green, I put in this case, a buy stop above the bar that's forming on my range chart. Triggers on the next bar. We have to sit through a little bit of the wiggles there. Depending on how you managed it, you could have managed it all the way up to the close and the pivot point above us, the close from Friday. So it just depends on how you managed it. If you were using once in and you get your first target, if you exit in stages, and then your stop goes to a tick better than your entry, then what I would recommend doing would have been using half a point under the low from Friday and it would have held, the stop would have held by a quarter, so you realistically could have rode that all the way up. And then if you were using half a point under the 30 weighted, then you would have been stopped out here to trail it. So it's up to you. There's no right or wrong way to manage once you're in. You just have to do what works best for you. And there's much argument as to what's better, getting all out at your first target or waiting for a runner. Again, it's totally up to you. If you're trading just a contract or two, definitely just get out at the first target. Don't look for a runner. And here you wind up with a pullback entry if you weren't already in here. This 49.75 area was a strong area from Friday, and I'll show that to you in just a moment. So if you were going to take this as a pullback entry, you would have been a little cautious about that 49.75 area above you. The good news is that you know that you've got the close and the pivot point, the floor trader pivot point above you, and so you could have hoped that it would find its way up there. It does eventually, but regardless, if you got in on a pullback, the entry would have been right here above this bar here. And what you could look for is, you can look here if you want further confirmation, is that the lower indicator stayed green while the two smaller ones went to red and then to green. So that kind of fell in line with taking that as a pullback entry. Again, up to you if you're willing to take it into that 49.75 area. Let me just go ahead and show you that area that I'm talking about. So this is that 49.75 area, and if you look at Friday, very strong area of support, hit it many times, and so you just would have to decide what you're going to do with that as a pullback entry. Take it and know that if you can't get through 49.75, you might not get your two. Actually, I think you would have just got your two if it came up to just the 49.75, but you see it did manage to get through. Here as a pullback, wouldn't have been as interested in it. Pulls back to the moving average, you can see it. This one here, it didn't quite make it, but I would be okay with that. As long as it's close, I'd be okay with that. Here, taking this as a pullback entry, I would be a little more cautious because of that pivot point and the close literally being right above your head. At 11:18, we did wind up with another Three Amigos setup, which falls right in line with this black line right here. Too close to lunch for me to want to take it, so it was one that I passed on. But you can see it did eventually go on to work out. You would have had to wait for a while. I don't think it would have worked out until, let's see, what time would you have gotten your 2 points out of it if you were trading during the break. I don't think you would have gotten your 2 points until like 11:37. So it's up to you what you're going to do around lunch. My concern with trading during the break is the volume, and the same thing with this afternoon. If the volume drops off, I would be very cautious about trading. And this is a line drawn at 5,000. You can use whatever you like. Just look back at averages. And really, since the holidays, the volume has been very light in the afternoon until like 3:45. It usually picks up again. So you just have to decide what you're going to do. The concern with not having a lot of volume coming in the afternoon is that you're not going to get the follow-through. And you're sitting in a trade waiting for it to work out forever. So I wasn't here in front of my computer during the break, but somebody told me that there was a valid Three Amigos set up here at 123. That's why I put a question mark, because I couldn't really tell looking at the charts afterwards if it was or wasn't. So if it was, then great, it worked out. If it wasn't, then you wouldn't have taken anything. This here at 211, you actually get the Three Amigos setting up, but right as you got it setting up before you could place your order, you would have gotten a tick extreme, and I would hold off getting in right on the extreme. If you're already in and you get an extreme, then great. Hopefully you can capitalize on a quick momentum move from the tick extreme. But if you're not already in, unless you're getting many tick extremes, then I would cancel my order if it hadn't already been filled, or hold off until the tick retraces. And I won't go much into that now. But anyway, the volume was too light. Here at 241, So this was not a trade I took because of the tick extreme and the light volume. 241, 242. Again, volume too light for me, not interested. And if anybody did take it, they would have been stopped out. I told everybody in the room that it would probably be a good idea to pass. And if they did want to do it, take it in their SIM account. So again, up to the individual. And then that is pretty much it. There might have been one here somewhere, and I was already gone for the day because I signed out at 3:30. There might have been one here somewhere, maybe at 3:37 or so. I don't know if there was or wasn't. If there was and you were trading, then great. I still would pay attention to the volume. So until the volume picks up in the afternoon, I would use extreme caution in taking these. And again, a lot has to do with where we're trading on the daily chart, as well as for this afternoon, as well as going sideways in the consolidation area from Friday. So look at something bigger, and if the volume's light, then you're likely going to have trouble busting through everything, or you can wind up sitting in the trade waiting for it to happen for a long time, waiting for it to at least get to your first target of 2 points. So I hope that helps, and if you have any questions, you can certainly shoot me an email, and we'll talk to you soon.